This is the Diamond Hogs Podcast with Mason Choate and Robert Stewart.
Welcome to the Diamond Hogs Podcast. I am your host, Mason Choate, joined as always by Robert Stewart. And Arkansas swept LSU. Fourth all-time sweep of LSU. They've only done it 4 times in program history. They are now 7-2 against LSU in the past 3 series. Previous something years, they were 6-22. So, good for Arkansas. They've got LSU's number right now.
Yeah, that's a big turnaround from the 6-20 whatever you mentioned just now.
22, yeah.
That's pretty remarkable, and Bob Holt certainly thought so. You heard him ask Dave Van Horn about it. And he said, "That's great."
Yeah,
short and sweet.
Well, I mean,
that's all there is to it.
Dave Van Horn. So, but good for Arkansas, and they get back on track after losing the series at Florida. So we're going to talk about the LSU series. We're going to do weekend MVPs. We're going to look around the conference. And also, I pissed a lot of Tennessee fans off with a post that I made for something that I didn't say. I just made the post, and so my mentions have been flooded with Tennessee fans. I've probably read the phrase rent-free, or I guess just 2 words, rent-free, about 1,500 times in the past 2 days. So
sounds on brand for them.
It's just like if it's rent-free, if Tennessee is living rent-free in Arkansas's head, then how is it that you guys are spending so much time talking about how Arkansas is rent-free in your heads? It seems like, or no, how Tennessee is rent-free in Arkansas fans' heads, but it seems like Arkansas is rent-free in your heads because you want to spend more time saying rent-free than watching the Tennessee game that was going on at the time.
That and the fact that Arkansas won a series at Knoxville last year and then beat them in the tournament final.
Yeah. It's just kind of like you don't really have, other than the fact that, yes, you are the number 1 team. You're probably the best team in college baseball right now. But last time you played the Hogs, you lost.
All right, this is turning into the Diamond Vols podcast, so let's save this for the end.
Okay, we'll save that for the end. So, yes, we're going to talk about LSU. And you can find us on Hit That Line Podcast Network. That is hitthatline.com, or type in Hit That Line wherever you get your podcasts. And thank you to everybody that listens on hitthatline.com. As always, Hit That Line AR on Twitter. That's where you can get some updates, scoring updates, post-game quotes on Twitter, Hit That Line AR. And then if you go to hitthatline.com, you can find Robert's game recaps if you missed anything. So, and plenty of other things you can listen to over at hitthatline.com and on the Hit That Line Podcast Network. And we are also part of HawgBeat.com. We're on the HawgBeat YouTube. Robert pointed. Good job. And also, you can find plenty of Arkansas content on HawgBeat.com. I wrote the game recap for Game 3. My key takeaways were Wiggins weathers the storm. All it takes is 1 inning, 4 runs. And Zack Morris, ? I went with it. Zack Morris, ? That was a key takeaway I had. Because it's like, yes, Zack Morris, but ? Because is it sustainable?
Right. I think those are 3 valid takeaways. Good work there.
There we go. And you can find the other key takeaway stories as well, plus plenty of Arkansas content at HawgBeat.com. Nobody does it better when it comes to Arkansas athletics coverage. Go to HawgBeat.com, and if you're a student, you can get it for $11.95 a year. Not a free subscription. $11.95 for a subscription for a whole year if you're a student. Email Andrew Hutchinson 413@gmail.com.
Less than $1 a month. That's almost free.
Yes, almost free. Okay, and we are brought to you, as always, by Barley and Vine. We plan on being at Barley and Vine at some point this week.
Friday is, I think, a 7:30 start time on the SEC Network, so we got to talk to Trisha about that.
Friday, yes, 7:30 SEC Network. We're not going to say this time that it's going to happen, because last time we said it's going to happen, it didn't happen on that day. So
be on the lookout for details on Twitter. There you go.
Be on the lookout. We enjoyed it last time. We're hoping if it's a Friday night, 7:30, everybody's off work already. Hopefully we can get more people to show up to that one. And maybe we can get a deal going on some drinks again.
Maybe no fender benders right south of Bentonville this time.
Yeah, that would be great. But they're located at 113 West Central Avenue, Suite 103 in downtown Bentonville. Plenty of drinks for you to have. And if you don't want to have a drink, you don't have to. You can play games. You can get a water. You can get some food from the first seat. And you can just watch the game if you want. I mean, nobody's saying that this is like a bar where people are going to be screaming and everybody's going to be drunk. Like, this is just it's the definition of chill. So if you just want to come and hang out and watch the game, you can do that. And it's a great place to do it. It's not your normal sports bar where, like, everybody's loud and sloshed. Like I said, it's, they got a couch. They got a nice, clean bar. It's a clean place. It's not like one of those sports bars you go in and it just feels gross. Everything's sticky. Like, it's clean. And you can get a glass of water. They got wine. They got whatever you want.
It's a lounge type vibe. You said it before. We were chilling there last time we went. That's what we'll be doing the next time we go.
Yes. So Barley and Vine. Hopefully we can get out there this week. All right.
Do a quick social media plug real quick.
Oh, yeah, social media. We do have, we are on social media as a podcast now. On Twitter, it's at Diamond Hogs Pod. We've been posting some clips from the podcast. We're trying to get like a social media manager, not fully, but somebody who can help us out with posting stuff. And we put a clip from Matt Goodhart's Kevin Cobb story on there on
Great
Twitter.
Stuff.
And we're also on Facebook and Instagram. I don't know.
Yes, at Diamond Hogs Podcast on Facebook. If you just search that, if you just search the name on Facebook, like the page, that'd be great. And then on Instagram at Diamond Hogs _pod. So pretty straightforward. You can just search Diamond Hogs Podcast on any of those three platforms, and we're there.
All right. So let's get into Arkansas versus LSU from this weekend.
Thursday, game one.
Okay. So this was a series that it felt like going into it before we talked to Foles from
Tiger
Foles,
Details.
From Tiger Details. I was a little worried because it's like, well, LSU, the way they started the season, this team can hit. They had a potent offense. And just like from what I knew about LSU was this team's going to score runs.
Right. I mean, you talk about Dylan Cruz, a guy who people revere as one of the best hitters in the country. Jacob Berry, the transfer third baseman from Arizona, came along with Jay Johnson. He was hitting 370 something. I think he's down to 360 after this weekend, so he's still hitting at a really good clip, even though he didn't excel against the Razorbacks. But yeah, the top of that order is pretty dangerous. And you heard Dave Van Horn say it just probably all three post games. Their lineup's good as anybody in the country, and the Arkansas pitching staff was just better.
They were. I mean, you look at it on Thursday night, Connor Nolan, perfect game going through 5, right?
He had a walk in the 4th. Perfect game through 3, no-hitter through 5 2/3, I think.
Oh, he opened the 4th. It was the no-hitter that people were pissed about. Okay.
Yeah.
Some
people were tweeting about a no-hitter before it was over, and
I get it if you are not going to name drop here, but if your name is Josh Teeter and you post it, he doesn't believe in the jinx, so fine, whatever. If you're working for a media outlet, you can't do that. You just as much as you can say there's no jinx, it's not real. You can't do it from a media outlet. You cannot. It just can't happen. I'm sure most of you listening know what I'm talking about. And I'm not throwing shade. I'm not because, I got respect for other people in the business. It's just word of advice from one member to another of the media. Don't do it.
I myself am not a believer in the jinx. I mean, players aren't down there in the dugout reading tweets about it. So
no, whatever somebody tweets has nothing to do with what happens on the field. It's just like, we were listening to Mike Irwin in the press box, and said media member was getting a lot of really bad things sent to them on social media because of that. And so it's like when you have that platform, then you have to deal with that.
Right. I as a member of the media would not tweet the words no-hitter during a no-hitter just because I don't care to deal with that flag. I'm not a believer, but...
Well, Pete D'Alessandro, he tweeted out Connor Nolan hasn't given up a run in
78 innings.
No, it's been 78 innings since Connor Nolan has given up a run. Not that he's pitched, just that Arkansas had
Okay,
played.
total Arkansas.
78 or 48, something like that.
A lot of
And then literally like the next at bat,
hit parade starts.
LSU scores runs. So let's talk about that. Let's get into it. So you look at it. Arkansas scores a run in the bottom of the first. And how did they do that?
Getting on base, getting the leadoff man on base is huge. I believe they did that 4 times in Thursday's game, scored 3 out of them. Started in the first with Caden Wallace. We heard that the Tigers are not a good defensive team, and that showed right away. Caden Wallace puts it in play to third baseman, I think, threw it away. Before you know it, you got a guy on second. And then Michael Turner drove him in with a fielder's choice. 4-6. They had runners on the corners, 1 out. Turner bounced to second, beat out the would-be double play at first, drove in Wallace, and just like that, Connor Nolan's pitching with the lead.
Connor Nolan was pitching with the lead, and he also gets another run behind his back in the bottom of the third.
Yeah, 4 walks for LSU in the third. Kind of disappointing for Arkansas that they couldn't turn that into more runs. You would think 4 walks, you got to make them pay, but they did not record a hit in the inning, and they left the bases loaded. But, like you said, it's another run. Guess you got to take it.
Yeah, so Hilliard for LSU goes 5 innings, gives up 3 hits, just 1 earned run, 2 runs total, and he walked 4 batters compared to 5 strikeouts. So
He was at 73 pitches, I think, after 3 innings.
through 101 total.
I think his in how many innings? 5 innings?
5 innings.
I think he threw 33 pitches in the third inning.
Wow.
He walked Brady Slavens, Brayden Webb, and Zach Gregory, and Michael Turner intentionally.
All right.
That's a lot of walks.
Yeah. And so then you look at it, LSU puts up 3 runs on Connor Nolan there in the top of the 6th. And it was interesting because Connor, the way he talked after the game, he didn't really say, like, I felt like I was running out of gas. I didn't feel good. He felt like his stuff was still there.
Right. And, when they jump on you that quickly, you don't really have time to panic or stress about it. You just sort of keep throwing, and that's sort of the vibe I got, or the impression that I got from him.
Yeah, so that's where his 3 earned runs came from. And so he goes 6. He earns the quality start, gives up 4 hits, 3 earned runs, strikes out 7 batters, and only walks 1. So
yeah, to come away with a quality start after a pretty unfortunate inning there in the 6th, you'll take that.
And how about Evan Taylor coming in relief, goes an inning, strikes out 3 batters?
Yep, that was a big 7th inning. And they were trailing at that point, right? It was 3-2 LSU. 3-2 LSU. Evan Taylor steps in, strikes out 3. Hogs rally in the 7th, put up 3 of their own. What happened there? Caden Wallace leads off with a single, getting on base. That's big.
How many times did Caden Wallace lead off with a hit this weekend? It felt like every time Caden Wallace came up to bat, he was just getting an important hit.
He led off with a hit 3 times. He started the game 2 with a double as well. But I want to say, yeah, he was the team leader in hits, tied with Michael Turner with 5 this weekend. So
Michael Turner with a quiet 5 hits. It did not feel like he had 5 hits on the weekend.
Right.
Slavens only had 2 hits, both on Saturday.
We'll get there, but
okay.
No, I don't think they were both on Saturday.
Oh no, because he had a sac fly in the
Correct.
home run. Okay.
We'll get to Brady Slavens later, but yeah, Caden Wallace leads off the 7th. 2 quick outs from Slavens and Lanzilli, and then a couple of infield singles by Turner and Brayden Webb. Seems like one or both of those probably could have been fielded. I remember there were some generous hit decisions from the scorer this weekend. And then Robert Moore comes up with a big hit, 2 RBIs. That broke a 3-3 tie, made it 5-3, and the Hogs held on to the lead, won the game.
Yeah, LSU, they did score a run there in the top of the 8th.
With the catcher's interference call. That was Taylor's last batter.
It was not a catcher's interference. The guy reached his bat back.
That was the weirdest swing you might ever see.
I don't know. You can't really reach your bat back and not hit the catcher. That's the thing.
Right. So it goes down as an error against Turner. That's a tough luck error. Brady Tigert comes in, gives up a couple of hits, That run score is unearned, and then he gets a 4-3 double play. Robert Moore was on the left side of the infield, steps on second, throws to first. Big cheers, and Hogs are up 5-4, which ended up being the final score, right?
Yes. So Brady Tigert, that's your closer right there.
Yeah,
he's your closer.
Worked the ninth, 2-out single, no big deal. Got Trey Morgan to fly out. Gets a 6-out save, 3 hits, a walk, and a strikeout. No runs. That's his 5th save of the year.
Are you sure? Yeah. Okay, you're right. Never mind. My bad. Okay. Yeah. So good for Tigert. It's great for Arkansas to have that guy at the back end where they can trust him in a high leverage situation like that. A 1-run game. And against one of the best hitting teams in the nation, Brady Tigert's your guy, man.
Yep, for sure. All right, so we've gone through the sort of play-by-play deal.
So
let's get into a few things. First thing I have written down is, could LSU have used more pitchers?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's talk about how much time LSU spent this weekend.
The game lasted on Thursday. The game lasted 3 hours and 39 minutes.
I wish we would have kept count for how many mound visits they had. It was insane. What are you doing?
I don't have my little pitch count things. I keep track of my visits there. I don't know why I don't have them, but
where's it at?
I must have left them at home.
Oh my god!
This is the problem when they have series that end on Saturday and we record Sundays, that we don't come straight from the ballpark. Anyway,
but yes, so LSU spent so much time, and not only did they spend so much time mound visits, their pitchers work so slow. It's just it's incredible how slow they work. They just sit there, and they probably use as much of the 20-second pitch count as they can.
Yeah. So they threw 8 innings on Thursday. The 6 Tiger pitchers, Mikhail Hilliard accounted for 5 of them. So they needed 5 different guys to get through the last 3 innings.
Yep.
You get 1 out from Bryce Collins, none from Trent Vietmeyer. I think that's how you say it. 1 1/3 from Riley Cooper. Dude looks like a lady. Remember him. Devin Fontenot did not get an out. And Eric Reiselman, the guy that was toe tapping.
Oh, that was hilarious.
He got 1 1/3 as well. That was the 1, 2, 3, 4 chants that you heard going, was his toe taps.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was pretty tough to watch, to endure. And it seemed like Dave Van Horn was trying to play some games back, because Jay Johnson was switching pitchers left and right, trying to get his matchups right. And then in the bottom of the 6th, he decides to pull Zack Gregory for Drake Varnado.
Yeah, this is one of the times where you can sit there and say, well, it's Dave Van Horn, I trust him. You know, it's Dave Van Horn. It's like questioning Nick Saban or Bill Belichick, you know?
Right.
It's on that level.
Right. I mean, I was sitting there, I was like, okay, you're pulling a lefty for a righty after Johnson pulls a righty for a lefty. You get the opposite-handed matchup, but Zack Gregory is your team leader in on-base percentage.
He's your team leader in on-base percentage. I value that over matchup, especially when you're going to throw Drake Varnado in. No offense to Drake Varnado, but
freshman does not have a lot of conference at-bats.
No, and also he hasn't proven himself, and Gregory
very much has.
Just last week proved, hey, you take me out of the lineup, I'll show you what happens. And he did on Saturday against Florida, and then took him out of the lineup again.
Yeah, and that's a big spot. I mean, the Hogs are down 3-2 at that point. They've got 2 on and 2 out. Peyton Stovall just strikes out. That's another thing, is you left Peyton Stovall, freshman lefty, in for the left-handed pitcher Cooper. That seemed like a spot you could have pinch hit for.
Yeah.
Gregory's been a lot hotter than Stovall has been.
Yeah, okay, so what did Stovall hit that game?
He went 1 for 4.
1 for 4.
He struck out against Cooper.
Okay.
And then Varnado watched strike 3 against Cooper. So.
And Gregory was, let's see, he had a strikeout, but he also walked and scored a run.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think Gregory has hit the point where I don't think you can take him out of the lineup.
You can't.
For as often as he gets on base. I mean, we have the bit, he gets on base, but the reason we have it is because he gets on base.
Right. Do you think because he's the 9-hitter, he just gets overlooked?
I don't know. Overlooked by who? Us? Opponents,
like scouting, because it's kind of crazy that they continue to walk him with Caden Wallace behind him.
I don't I don't know if he gets overlooked. I mean, Patrick Wicklander said he's the hardest batter that he ever faced.
Well, sure, but do opposing head coaches know that?
Probably not. There's something to be said for a guy who can stand in the box and take over. And Zack Gregory
does that.
Zack Gregory does that. And so at some point, I don't know. I mean, he's got to keep hitting in the 9-hole probably.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's no reason to tinker with him in particular because he's working well. He's getting on base, as we know. He's scoring runs. By the way, the runs per plate appearance gap has widened between Caden Wallace and Zack Gregory between second and first. Wallace is scoring a run every 4.36 plate appearances, and Gregory every 3.58. So closer to one plate appearance, one more run per plate appearance than Wallace.
Are you doing this math with plate appearance again?
I am doing it I did it ahead of time this time.
Okay.
It's plate appearances, not at bats. I promise.
I don't want you to get in trouble again, buddy.
I hear you.
Okay. Okay. Last thing from this game, probably. Robert Moore can't speak to the media because he had homework.
Yeah, I asked him about that on Saturday. We finally got him on Saturday. He had a finance assignment. That's what he said, right?
Yeah, and there was a member of the media who wasn't really happy with you for asking about that. By the way, I didn't tell you about this. So we were in the press box transcribing afterwards, and said member, I will not mention names. I'll tell you afterwards.
Okay.
Goes, I'm not transcribing this question about the homework. I'm just not doing that.
I think I know who you're talking about.
And I was like, okay, dude, sounds good. Whatever.
It got a lot of laughs though, so.
Yeah, I mean, cool. It was a question that you wanted to ask. You can ask whatever questions you want.
Exactly. I mean, the tweet about him not being able to speak to the media on Thursday blew up. So I was like, okay, well, what happened? He said it was originally due Tuesday, and then he got an extension or something like that.
Yeah.
And so he had to do it after the game.
So there you go. That's Thursday's game. Let's talk about Friday.
Should we do an ad read first?
No, we always do ad read after game 2.
Okay, game 2 it is.
I was not there, but
Probably why it took under 3 hours.
And unfortunately, I was not there for the brand. Michael Turner and Zack Gregory both hit home runs. So that's unfortunate.
Yeah, you were working on that video all week and sitting on it. You're not there to tweet it when... I mean, I know you tweeted it, but...
Yeah. I hope everybody enjoyed my Turner Smash video.
Yeah, that was a big game for Arkansas all the way around. Really, really good bounce back outing from Hagen Smith. Goes 7 innings, gives up 2 hits, a walk, strikes out 7. As I said, it's a shutout, so all 7 of those innings were scoreless. And then good job by Vermillion and Evan Taylor coming out of the bullpen second straight day to finish off those last 2 innings.
Yeah, so basically Arkansas got it done in the third. Was that a 2-home run inning?
Yes, it was. Gregory leads off with an oppo shot. Slavens walks a couple batters later, and Blake Money pays for it. Money pays, get it?
Aha.
Michael Turner hits an opposite field home run of his own, and just like that, Hagen Smith's got a 3-run cushion to work with. Yeah,
and so only 2 LSU starters had hits in this game, Dylan Cruz and Jacob Berry. That was their 1- and 2-hole hitters. And then Luke Leto pinch hit, got a hit, and that was the only 3 hits for LSU in this game. So the Arkansas pitching staff, I mean, Dave Van Horn talked about it on Saturday. Our bullpen was the story of the weekend.
Without a doubt. I mean, and they didn't have to use that many guys either.
When I say our, I mean that's out of Dave Van Horn's mouth.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not saying our as in you and I.
They used 7 pitchers on the weekend. 3 of them started, so 4 guys in relief being what?
Tiger,
Evan Taylor, Brady Tiger,
Vermillion, and Morris.
So 2 guys twice.
Yeah.
That's got to be really big for those 2 guys' confidence in particular.
Yeah, but
I mean, we knew Tiger could do that.
Yeah.
That's not a surprise.
And Vermillion at this point. I think you say at this point Vermillion too.
Yeah, he only threw once, but
I'm saying as far as guys out of the bullpen, you trust.
Yes, for sure. Vermillion did get the lead, or had the 2 guys he faced first reach against him, then induced a fly out to left and a pop out to third, and then I think at that point Dave pulled him because he wanted to get matchup with Jacob Berry, who was hitting 370, as I mentioned earlier. let's see, Evan Taylor ended up walking him, but then got the next guy to fly out and left the bases loaded.
Mm-hmm.
And then how'd they get the fourth run? It was another home run from Chris Lanzilli.
Slam Zilly, the brand.
Big Tater game.
Big Tater game, big brand game.
Yeah.
For the Diamond Hogs podcast. For those of you who don't know, I mean, it's pretty obvious, but when I say the brand, that is us. The Diamond Hogs podcast. You think about it, the brand, Michael Turner, Chris Lanzilli, and we include Zach Gregory as part of the brand, even though he has not come on the podcast yet.
We'll work on that. Speaking of Zach Gregory speaking to the media.
You say your part first, and then I'm going to rant again. Go ahead.
I asked him what he thought of leading the team in on-base percentage out of the 9-hole. Didn't have much to say. What did he say? Pretty cool. And that was it.
He said, yeah, that's pretty cool.
And then, yeah, I mean, Turner and Smith were laughing about it. And then, yeah, I asked him if he's seen the clip. He was like, yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, I've seen it. That was it. Thanks, Zach.
That was kind of disappointing.
We've built you up. We have single-handedly built your brand with Arkansas baseball this season. You go on the field, we take care of everything else for you, buddy. And that's what we get. Not a, yeah, thanks for doing it. That's not even part of my rant. That's not even the rant.
Well, let's hear it.
The rant is, so on Saturday, Gregory goes up to bat, and the SEC Network guys, they say, we talked to Gregory after yesterday's game, and we asked him about the Moneyball clip that's been going around.
We?
They said we. And
is that the correct pronoun there? I'm not sure it is.
They, first of all, were not at the press conference.
I was about to say, I don't remember seeing either of them.
And second of all, they didn't ask him anything, unless they did in the TV. Did they?
I mean, maybe they have a post-game TV that we don't see because we go straight from the press box to the interview room, but
I highly doubt that's what they would have asked about. I highly doubt that they would have asked that question.
I explicitly asked that question.
You asked that question. And also, if you're going to talk about the Moneyball tweet, say the Moneyball tweet that Mason Choate's been tweeting out, member of the Arkansas media. How hard is that? Nobody else tweets it. It's me. It's my Moneyball tweet. I don't own the rights to Moneyball the movie. I don't even own the rights to that tweet.
But that's our shtick, man.
That's our shtick. And when you see the video, it says my name on it. Okay.
And when you don't see Mason's, you see mine because I'm filling it.
It's just frustrating when people take what is yours, what is your content. I guess that's just part of being in the media, man. People take your content.
I think it's part of being a student journalist in particular.
It is also part of being a student journalist. Okay. But yeah, the brand is strong right now.
All right, what else do we have written down for Friday? Smith, Dazzles, Taters. Talked about both of those things. Zeb and Taylor did a great job of finishing the shutout. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about Zach Gregory and his stats. He also leads the team in on-base plus slugging percentage. He's the only guy over 1,000, oddly enough. He's at 1.034.
You hear that?
I do. You sound like Cameron and Ferris Bueller.
Pretty cool, huh?
Just like Zach Gregory.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, he's the team leader in OPS. Did not know that.
By the way, shout out to Christian Cheatham for saying I'm funnier than you.
Sure. Okay.
Hold on. Moment of silence. Okay, go ahead.
He's only 8 points off the team lead for slugging percentage. The slugging percentage lead, I want to say...
This is Zach Gregory you're talking about?
Zach Gregory.
I think people got distracted.
Yeah, you did that.
Okay.
All right, Michael Turner is second on the team, 560. Gregory's third at 557. And Brady Slavens is the team leader at 565.
This is what stat again?
Slugging percent.
Oh.
So OPS...
Wait, Zach Gregory's third on the team in slugging?
Yes.
I was Brayden Webb.
He's fourth.
Wow.
4 points behind Gregory.
Who would have guessed that Zach Gregory would be third on the team in slugging?
I know. He's the only guy over 1,000 OPS. That's amazing.
Whoa. Hold on. Wait. Are you sure?
Yeah. Who are you looking at?
I'm looking at Gregory. He's got 557.
557 plus 477 is 1.034.
Oh, Slavens has 565. Okay, my bad. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And his OBP is only 336.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Looking at the conference in OBP, Zach Gregory is 4th. He trails a couple of dudes from Tennessee. He's also tied for. I was looking at the conference stats for the first time today. Notice he's 1st in the league in sack bunts.
Master bunter.
There you go. Thank you.
Zach Gregory.
And I think
Never mind. Go ahead. Sorry.
I think I know why Auburn is so good now.
Because they have this guy?
Because they have this guy. His name is Sonny DiChiara. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm going to call him Sonny D. I'm sure I'm not the first person to think of that. He is a senior transfer from Samford, another school in Alabama that usually wins their conference and makes the tournament. Didn't have all that impressive stats, I think, his junior season. But this year at Auburn, he is slashing 419, 580, 857. So 58% of the time he's getting on base. Wow. And his OPS is 1.437.
I'm looking at his bio to see if there's a pronunciation guide.
I'm gonna put my money on DiChiara.
Dang, he's hitting 419?
Yeah.
With 11 home runs, 33 RBI.
Yeah, it's not like he's just, filling in here and there. He's playing every day. And putting up those numbers, I mean, that might be your SEC Player of the Year.
Yeah. That could happen.
So I'm gonna say that is why Auburn is 8-7 right now?
In the SEC?
Yes. They are in a 3-way tie for second place, 3 games back of Arkansas. And they've currently, according to the SEC website, they have that 3-way tiebreaker.
All right.
So I think that's what's going on with Auburn. Is that guy is carrying them.
Okay, good for Auburn. Speaking of Alabama teams, never mind, we'll get into it later. Okay, so are we done with Friday? Are we good?
Yeah.
Arkansas wins 4-0.
Smith, team leading 6th win of the year. Another quality start.
Get the series win.
Great way to bounce back after Florida last week, both for Smith and the team, and Evan Taylor with his first save of the year.
Yep. 3rd straight against LSU. Series win.
Correct.
So, okay. Before we get to Saturday's game, I want to remind you about our friends at Barley and Vine, located at 113 West Central Avenue, Suite 103 in downtown Bentonville. It's a craft beer, tap room, and wine bar. They have 32 beers on tap with several more in cans and bottles. They also have a wide array of wine selections, reds, whites, and sparkling, and they offer those by the glass and have even more by the bottle. Place is a perfect place for a chill vibe. You can play shuffleboard, you can play darts, you can watch the game, you can hang out with your friends, you can play board games. And they also have video games there. Didn't know that until we went. So, and like I said, it's a clean place. That goes a long way with me with a bar. If it's clean, you got clean bathrooms, a clean bar, a clean floor, like I'm not hearing my foot stick to the ground every time I take a step, which happens at a lot of bars in Fayetteville, then that goes a long way. And Barley and Vine is a clean bar at 113 West Central Avenue, Suite 103 in Bentonville. Okay. Saturday's game. This one was a little weird.
Yeah, it was.
Arkansas gets the win, 6-2. Jackson Wiggins got hit around, but man, did he keep bouncing back.
The damage control was really on point for Jackson Wiggins on Saturday. Through the first 3 innings, gave up 5 hits and I think 3 walks and only 1 run. Left 7 guys on base in those first 3 innings. So it could have gotten really ugly really fast, but...
Well, he had bases loaded with 1 out in the first.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh my goodness.
Ground out, no problem.
Yeah.
It like I said, could have gotten ugly really fast. Did not, and that's probably what allowed Arkansas to win this game, even though they didn't start hitting until the 5th inning.
Career high 9 strikeouts for Jackson Wiggins. Also, by far, career high. He gave up 9 hits. His second.
Did he give up 9 last week? I feel like he did.
No.
Yeah.
He did?
He gave up 9 hits last week.
Are you for real?
Yeah.
Then the Arkansas Athletics website was wrong. I think I might have wrote that in my story.
Well, it's tied for a career high.
Okay.
It's not necessarily incorrect.
Okay, other than the past 2 weeks, I don't think he had given up more than 5 hits in a game.
Gotcha.
In his career.
Like you said, got hit around. That first bat of the game, I think Van Horn mentioned it after the game, could have could have just been an indicator of how things were going to play out as far as luck goes. I have it scored as a single to first base. Peyton Stovall fielded it on a hop in short right field. It was just one of those dying quails, blue pit, and didn't end up costing Wiggins. So, yeah, you always hear it from Dave Van Horn. He doesn't get phased. He pitches really well out of the stretch. Saturday was just another example of that.
So he gives up one in the second, and then Arkansas, there's not another run scored in the game until the fifth when Arkansas scores 4 runs. And some of them, including the first run, were scored like really unconventionally.
The first run being a fielder's choice. That's right. Okay, so the starter, Samuel Dutton, had a really good game. Got into the fifth, only got credit for 4 innings, 2 hits, a run, which was earned, a walk, and 2 strikeouts. So Grant Taylor is the first guy out of the bullpen. That's Evan's brother, and he was definitely not the more effective of the 2 on the weekend.
No.
Faced 4 guys, didn't get any of them out. Probably should have gotten the first one, though. So Jalen Battles advances to second. The first one. So he gave up a single to Jalen Battles. Battles advances to second on an error by Taylor. So Stovall had a chopper at him. He was looking at second, trying to get presumably the double play. But if you can't get 1 out, you can't get 2 outs. He bobbles it, can't get the first out. And Brayden Webb, who walked, ended up scoring to tie it. And then Zach Gregory, what does he do? He walks. Shocker.
Gets on base.
And then Caden Wallace comes up with a 2-run single at the top of the third time through the order. And then Brady Slavens checks in with a sac fly, makes it 4-0 or 4-1, excuse me. So
yeah,
big inning there in the fifth. Who knows how differently it goes if Taylor fields that ball on the mound.
Yeah. That's just, I mean, LSU's horrible fielding lost them at least 2 games this weekend.
You got to think, yeah.
Thursday's and Saturday's game. And so so this was one of those things where it's like Caden Wallace comes up, drives in 2 runs, and you just feel like he's just so clutch when he has guys on base. If there's anybody on this Razorback team that you want hitting when there's guys on base, it's Caden Wallace. I don't think it's anybody else. For a while there, it was Michael Turner. No offense to Turner time, but I think right now it's Caden Wallace, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the biggest factor in my Gregory run leading prediction from earlier in the year is that, I knew Gregory was going to hit toward the bottom of the order, maybe not necessarily ninth, but that's where he is. Didn't know Caden Wallace was going to hit leadoff, but that's where he is. I figured Wallace would have several chances to drive in runs with Gregory on base, and, I mean, when he hits right behind him, that's what happens.
Yeah. So, there you go. That's how Arkansas gets the lead. They go up 4-1 at the time. LSU puts up a run in the top of the 6th, and that run is what got Wiggins out of the game.
Yep, gave up a ground rule double to the 9-hitter with 1 out there. Single scores him at the top of the order, and I think at that point he was at 100 pitches. So Van Horn elected to go to the bullpen, and how about the job Zack Morris did?
Zack Morris, ? I mean,
as you said, yes.
Zack Morris, I was very impressed. So Van Horn said, hey, we pitched him Tuesday against UAPB, and he goes an inning, strikes out 3 batters, and felt good about him. And Zack Morris comes out, throws 2 2/3 innings, gives up 2 hits, and 2 strikeouts, faced 9 batters. So Zack Morris looked really good. If you can have him as another lefty piece out of the bullpen, who can go out there, throw with confidence. I mean, he had some good velocity. His off speed was working a little bit, and he was facing a very tough lineup in LSU.
Yeah, and he had to. I mean, he came into the game in a very high stress situation. He had 1 on. They were up 2 at that point, so the tying run was in the batter's box. Strikes out Dylan Cruz, who we talked about as being one of the better hitters in the league, and gets Jacob Berry to line out to right, another one of the better hitters in the league, and just like that, you're good.
Yeah.
And then he gave up a hit in each of the next 2 innings, but neither guy made it past second base. And then some more run support in the bottom of the 7th there, thanks to Brady Slavens.
Brady Slavens, 2-run bomb.
Leadoff man aboard. He scores. Peyton Stovall with a leadoff double there to left field. Zach Gregory gets him to third base. You going to say it?
Master bunter.
There you go. And didn't really matter that he was on third because Brady Slavens hit a low line drive just over the right field fence, made it 6-2.
Yep. And that is what the final score ended up being because Morris comes back out in the 8th, does the job, and then they bring Tigert out out in the 9th, and he closes it out. Doesn't get the save because it's a 4-run game at the time, but I think, like I said earlier, Brady Tigert, he is your closer. If you can have Zack Morris as another lefty out of the pen to go with Evan Taylor, and then you look at it, you got Tigert and Vermillion.
You're set.
You got 2 righties, 2 lefties, plus your 3 starters who have been really good.
Right. That's the thing. Is like you kind of have to rely on your starters to get you through at least 5, right? Because the worst of 3 starts was Jackson Wiggins at 5 1/3 this weekend. That's gonna be advantageous to you every single weekend. I don't care who you're playing.
Yeah. I mean, is it a good thing that Cole Ramage didn't pitch this weekend? Do you think he's going to starting midweeks?
I mean, I guess, but the way he talked after the midweek game, it was like, well, if he is feeling confident about his, 4-pitch repertoire, then maybe he needs to get back into conference play because he executed pretty well in Florida. We mentioned it last week. It was a low-stress situation, but, 9 up, 9 down against Florida is nothing to sneeze at.
No.
So I guess you don't worry too much about it because you didn't really need him this week. But I don't know. I don't know how I feel about him starting midweeks unless it's like 2 or 3 innings because I think he probably does need to make at least 1 appearance every weekend.
Ramage?
Until he shows that you can't trust him again.
Well, I think at this point, depending on Morris, he's at least your 4th guy, probably your 5th out of the bullpen.
Yeah.
So
3rd on the totem pole as far as righties go.
If you look at it from this weekend's standpoint, if you keep having pitching like that, then you might not even have to use the guy. So,
True.
But like you said, it is you got to think about the matchups too. Anything else about Saturday?
Yeah. I have get to the bullpen written down. That was big in Thursday and Saturday's game. Mikhail Hilliard was really dealing. Didn't happen right away once they started bringing in relievers, but that was how they ended up winning that game Thursday. And then as soon as Dutton leaves the game on Saturday, Game 3, Grant Taylor's not effective. Hogs jump all over him, and they've got the lead just like that. So I always think that when a starter has your number, you're better off getting to the pen, and Hogs sort of proved that this weekend. Yeah. Evan is the better Taylor is another thing I have written down. No surprise there. Mentioned that a little bit. What else? Oh, let's talk about Brayden Gilbert, the guy who was called out even though he only saw 2 strikes. He was taking a little stroll out of the batter's box.
Yeah, that was a weird situation because you've seen it across college baseball, this scenario happening, and it seems weird, but once it actually happens in a game, at least in this situation, it made a lot of sense because he was just taking his time. LSU all weekend was taking its time, and they paid the consequences. Yeah,
they did. I was actually not in the press box for that 1 inning. I was in a box on the third base side, and I remember looking right at the home plate umpire. He walked away. I guess he was telling him to come back, and he motioned. I'll do this for YouTube real quick. He was like, "Get back in the box," and he kept taking his time. And Jeff Head at third base must have been the crew chief because he stepped in, said, "You are out."
Yeah, so he had 2 strikes. No balls, 2 strikes at the time.
So it's got to be a strike, right? The punishment is a strike rather than an out. It just so happens that there were 2 strikes already. That's my understanding of it, but I'm not sure.
I don't know what the rule says. Is there a rule? Okay, you don't know. Well, he had 2 strikes, and if it is a strike, then yeah, he was out. They gave Wiggins a strikeout.
The thing is,
or was it Wiggins pitching?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
The thing is, you've only ever seen this come up, or at least I have. Clips circulating on Twitter is when there are 2 strikes in the count, and so I don't know if there's been no strikes or one strike before, and they've issued a strike for taking too long, and then he learns his lesson, doesn't get called out. You've only seen it when he gets called out because it's strike 3. So,
well, a lot of Razorback fans were happy when that happened. So,
yeah, they were taking their sweet time, as you mentioned, on the mound, and again there in the batter's box. Trey Morgan was another one of the culprits there.
Every time the ball hit the catcher's glove,
he could not wait to turn around.
He couldn't wait to drop his bat and step out of the box. Like I think I tweeted out, I think he's allergic to the batter's box.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
And so, yeah, LSU, I don't know, man. They were like an annoying team, but it wasn't like an Ole Miss or Tennessee annoying where it's like, I just cannot stand this team. It's just annoying. It's annoying the way they play, which is apparently West Coast baseball.
I was about to say, I remember seeing a comment over your shoulder. I don't know if it was on the Rivals message board or on Twitter, but somebody was like, Jay Johnson can take his West Coast or Pac-12 style baseball back to Arizona because, yeah, that was pretty pathetic. And I tweeted, I think in the first game, like, Jay Johnson's going to be the reason that the NCAA adopts a 3-batter minimum because that was particularly painful to sit through.
That it was. Okay. Anything else from Saturday's game?
Yes. We talked last week about the 2-hole. Is it cursed? Quick discussion. Brady Slavens hit all 3 games out of there because he had like a 6-for-8 day against Pine Bluff on Tuesday. Something like that. He
went 2 for 10, 3 RBI, scored 2 runs, had the homer on Saturday, struck out 4 times, walked twice.
So going into his final at bat, he was 1 for 9 with just the 1 RBI because the home run produced 2.
Yep.
So what are we thinking? Is it cursed? Or is that just an example of Brady Slavens is not the 2-hitter, should not be the 2-hitter?
I don't know, man. It's tough. It is tough because recency bias. That's one tough part about it. But also, I mean, the numbers back it up. So I think, as of right now, if you're an Arkansas batter and you're hitting the 2-hole, you got to be pretty worried.
Mm-hmm. I was talking to Pete either after the Pine Bluff game or right before the first LSU game. He said, what's the over-under on games before Brady Slavens moves out of the 2-hole? And I said, I bet it doesn't happen. Oh, I think I said I bet it happens before the end of the series. So I said it at 3.5, took the under, and was wrong. So maybe it's coming right before they play Texas A&M on Friday. I'm not going to count Arkansas State because I don't think there's a point in doing that.
Yeah, no. I don't know. It's an interesting thing to think about. I wonder what would happen if they put Gregory in the 2-hole.
I don't know if you can tinker with that.
No, you can't. You can't do it. I'm just saying, would the 2-hole still be cursed if Gregory was hitting in the 2-hole?
He may be the one guy that could break the curse.
Him or Wallace, maybe. Wallace.
But you can't take Wallace out of the leadoff spot either.
No.
So your hands are tied.
Hands are tied. Okay. Let's move on. Are you good to move on?
Yeah, I have Robert Moore comments written down, but we can get to that.
You already talked about it.
No, not homework comments.
Oh, more.
We'll get to that.
The video comments.
Yes.
Okay.
We'll do that in our SEC wrap up section.
Okay. Before we get to our weekend MVPs, want to remind you again about our friends at Barley and Vine. You know who they are. You know where they're at. 113. Oh my gosh, I forgot about it.
West Central.
For a second, I thought it was South Central. Okay, 113 West Central Avenue, Suite 103 in downtown Bentonville. Great place to go. Looking at going to watch one of the A&M games there. If you guys want to show up, probably Friday. It's a 7:30 first pitch. Gives you time to take care of whatever you need to after work. Get yourself up there. We'll see if we can get some deals on drinks going. And you don't have to drink. Come get some food from the first seat, and we'll watch some Razorback baseball together.
Sounds like a plan to me.
113 West Central Avenue, Suite 103 in downtown Bentonville. 32 beers on tap. They got wine. I actually tried wine for the first time this weekend.
What'd you think? What did you have?
I don't know. I was celebrating Passover with family, and I always drink the grape juice. And
you've graduated this year.
I'm 21 now, so I was like, pour me some wine. And I had it in small intervals. Apparently this was a sweeter wine. So I didn't think it tasted bad. Put it that way.
There you go.
So, I might get some wine next time we're in Barley and Vine. And I'm also going to play shuffleboard because I think you beat me last time. So,
yeah, we also sort of played toward the end, so maybe we get there a little early, have a pregame match.
And we'll play some darts too. We didn't get to do that last time. So, and you listeners out there, come to Barley and Vine. I know there's a lot of you who listen in the Northwest Arkansas area. Come to Barley and Vine and say what's up and hang out with us. It'll be a good time. All right. Weekend MVPs. I feel like I've started the past few episodes, so I'm going to let you start with your MVP at the plate, Robert.
MVP at the plate. I think it's got to be Caden Wallace.
Wally?
Wally.
Wally.
I thought you were about to say wow.
No.
I was like, it's not that out of left field. Anyway, Caden Wallace, 5 for 13 in the leadoff
People
spot.
get copyrighted for me saying Wally like that?
Oh man, I don't know if the copyright police are listening to this one, but
They listen, buddy. They listen.
man, tough world out there.
I know.
Anyway, Caden Wallace, 5 for 13 out of the leadoff spot, drove in a couple of runs, and that was on a hit in the 5th inning of Saturday's game, a hit that put Arkansas on top 3-1, that officially put Grant Taylor in the loss column, and Jackson Wiggins. Yes, Wiggins. He made Jackson Wiggins eligible for the win. So didn't drive in just a ton of runs this weekend, but, as I said earlier, led off 3 different innings with hits, and he scored how many different times? 2 of those times in Thursday's game, and then led off with a double Friday, ended up out at home on a fielder's choice, but he's doing what you need him to do out of leadoff spot, getting on base, a la Zack Gregory, and for that reason, he is my weekend MVP at the plate.
All right. I'm going to go with Turner Time, 5 for 11. 3 RBI, had the homer on Friday, scored 2 runs, had 3 singles, good for him, and a double. Like I said, the homer only struck out once, so good for him, and also walked.
Well, that's another thing I forgot to mention about Caden Wallace. Is he was the only guy in an Arkansas uniform not to strike out on the weekend. So
he also didn't walk. Okay, Turner Time. It's been a while since we said Turner Time is a weekend MVP.
But again, like you mentioned, he's quietly, putting together some nice days. He's not making, super loud noise or anything, but again, still the team leader in batting average. Where's he right now? 344.
Yeah. He's got
pretty good.
43 hits, and that is second to just Caden Wallace.
Probably because Wallace has more at bats, right?
Wallace
15 more
has 15 more at bats, yes. So looking at the home run race, Webb out ahead with 9, Slavens has 7. And then Battles with 6, and then you got
Jalen Battles is 3rd on the team in home runs. How about that?
And then you got 4 guys between Turner, Wallace, Lanzilli, and Gregory with 5 homers.
Gregory is in that tied for 5 club. Good for him.
Good for Zack Gregory. Okay, let's talk about weekend MVPs on the mound. I'll let you go first once again.
Alrighty. I think it would be silly not to go with Hagen Smith. 7 shutout innings. That's huge, especially after the tough outing he had in Gainesville last weekend. To only give up 3 base runners and never let them get past first base, that's pretty good. Also, I think we forgot to mention this, but LSU didn't have an extra base hit until I think the second inning of the game 3.
Yeah.
So, good job by all the Razorback pitchers of limiting total bases, I guess. But particularly Hagen Smith gives up a leadoff single in the 4th, fly out, strikeout, ground out. Dude never gets past first base. Again in the 5th, leadoff walk, foul out, line out, fly out, no big deal. Gives up a 2-out hit in the 6th, and then gets a ground out to secure a quality start there. So, for a freshman to get through 7, give you a series win, that's big, and that's MVP worthy in my book.
All right. I think you're right. That's the obvious choice. I'm going to go with Zack Morris.
I like it.
Zack Morris proved himself in a meaningful game. Goes 2 2/3. Gave up the 2 hits, but he had 2 strikeouts. Damage control. He looked great on the mound. Took care of things. Didn't feel like you had to worry about anything with him on the mound. And that, I feel like that's a big thing when you're from a perspective of somebody watching a game. If you can watch it and not have to think about what's going on the mound, like you're just sitting there watching it and you're not stressed, you're not worried, you're not ready to type of a team scoring a run or something. I think there's a lot to be said about that. And that's how it felt when Zack Morris was on the mound. It just felt like he was getting guys out, moving on with the game. Let's get this thing done. Let's get home. And he looked good, man.
Yeah, he did. I think that's a really good pick. Should we give an honorable mention maybe to Evan Taylor?
Yeah, honorable mention to Evan Taylor. Goes 2 1/3, 4 strikeouts, gave up 1 run, unearned, and a walk. 2 outings. So Evan Taylor, I mean, I guess if we're doing honorable mentions, we might as well give Brady Tigert as well.
Yeah.
Closed 2 games out.
Not 2 saves. One of them wasn't a situation, but effectively 2 saves.
And if we're giving honorable mentions, let's just say Connor Nolan.
I mean, can you pinpoint anybody on that list of 7 that isn't worthy of an honorable mention?
All of the pitchers, I think we should just give a pitching staff MVP.
Yeah. If you pitched this weekend for Arkansas, congratulations.
You are MVP from the Diamond Hawgs podcast. No greater honor in life than being a weekend MVP for the Diamond Hawgs podcast. We should actually have stats of how many.
Oh, we should start keeping count.
We should start keeping count of, like Michael Turner's a 3-time weekend MVP.
maybe we can work on that this week.
We need to do that, and then at the end of the year we can hold an awards show.
Shout out to any listener out there that does it for us.
I doubt
they will, but
I doubt anybody will.
Hey, you don't ask, you don't get.
Okay. Weekend MVPs were brought to you by the Encore Group. I love the Encore Group. You know the Encore Group if you listen to this podcast. It's Matt Grissom and his team. They've got a lot of experience selling homes for top dollar in the shortest amount of time. And last time I read this ad, I said my mom was trying to sell her house, didn't use Matt Grissom in the Encore Group. She still hasn't sold her house. And I'll tell you what, if she would have sold her house for top dollar weeks ago in the shortest amount of time because she would have gone to the Encore Group. I'm sorry, Matt. I should have told her. Didn't think about it. I was just happy for her that she bought a new house. And here she is, and she still hasn't sold her old one. But you know what sets the Encore Group apart from their competition?
I think it's that they go above and beyond.
Yes.
If I had to guess.
You have it memorized by now, Robert. They help you get your home show ready. They hire professional video and photography. They create custom signage, and they do much more. And by doing that, they're going above and beyond to market your home. Never settle for a bunt. Don't settle for a bunt unless it's Zach Gregory at bat. But in this scenario, it is not Zach Gregory. Let's just say it's Drake Varnado. No offense, Drake Varnado, but I think we can all agree that your bunt this weekend was pretty freaking ugly. For those of you who missed it, he bunted and it just popped up and went straight into the first baseman's glove. So don't settle for a Drake Varnado bunt when it comes to selling your home. Call the Encore Group for a Brayden Webb Grand Slam experience. For more information or to receive a free property valuation proposal, visit sellingarkansas.com. That's the word sellingarkansas.com. The Encore Group. Thank you, Encore Group. All right, let's look around the SEC. Man, Alabama. Dominic Thomas. Did you see him?
I forgot he's in Tuscaloosa now.
He was their starting catcher, and I was watching Saturday's game.
Which would be game 2 of that series?
Yeah. Thomas can't throw.
Really?
He had 3 throwdowns to third base that he just airmailed into the outfield. Not even close.
Yikes.
I mean, there's a reason he's not at Arkansas anymore.
I guess that's it. Maybe one of them. I don't know. Big week around the SEC. Notably, Arkansas is the only team to record a sweep.
Arkansas?
If you want to say it like that, sure.
Good for the Hogs.
Yep. Every other team that hosted this weekend won its series except for the Georgia Bulldogs. The Texas A&M Aggies, who the Hogs will face next week, went into Athens, took 2 of 3, including a 23-9 decision on Saturday to win it.
That is just crazy. I'd honestly be pretty pissed off if I was covering a game and that many runs were scored.
Yeah, especially considering. I think I was keeping an eye on the line score throughout the game. There were 3 different 6 spots in the first 5 innings, and then maybe A&M had another one in the top of the 9th because I think it was 17-9 going into the 8th or 9th. So, that would be a tough one to cover. So the Aggies are working with some hot bats, something to watch out for next week. What else happened? Mississippi State took 2 of 3 from Auburn, nearly swept that series, but the Tigers were able to salvage one. Missouri took 2 of 3 from Kentucky, so you got a new last place team in the SEC East.
Yeah.
Unfortunate.
Which doesn't matter at all.
Unfortunate for the Wildcats there. South Carolina nearly swept Ole Miss, who is
the Cox.
The Cox nearly swept the Rebs there, but Ole Miss salvaged one. That doesn't mean that they're going to be ranked next week, sitting at 25 after falling 16 spots from 9.
I've been seeing people saying it's time to move on from Mike Bianco.
I haven't seen enough Ole Miss baseball this year to justify that, but
can you imagine, man? After, I don't know, man.
And he's an LSU alum, and that job just got filled.
Yeah.
Be an unfortunate situation for him if he gets canned. Anyway, moving on. Tennessee takes 2 of 3 from Alabama. We'll circle back to that in a second. And Vanderbilt takes 2 of 3 from Florida in Nashville. So let's see. In the SEC West, as I mentioned earlier, Arkansas is sitting atop at 11-4, 3-game cushion over Bama, A&M, and Auburn. 4 games ahead of LSU thanks to the sweep this weekend. 5 over Mississippi State and 6 over Ole Miss.
Did you mention that Florida beat Vandy?
Vandy beat Florida.
Vandy beat Florida?
Florida won in extras on Sunday, but Vandy took the first 2.
Oh, I didn't know they won the first 2 games.
Yeah, they walked off Friday night. Friday night was game 1. Vanderbilt walked off.
Dang.
And then they went to extras today, Sunday, and Florida took that one in 10. SEC East, Tennessee lost its first conference game to Alabama on Friday. That was game 1. They're still doing just fine up there, 5 games clear of second base because Georgia
Second
lost.
place?
Yeah. Did I say second base?
Yeah.
Oh, dear. Second place.
You're what some people call stupid.
It happens to the best of us.
Okay, go ahead.
Tennessee 5 games clear of second place.
Are you a big Cox guy?
South Carolina?
Yeah, you a big fan of the Cox?
Not me. I have no South Carolina roots.
Hey, they're 6-9.
It's
nice.
it's a heck of a nickname, especially to have that record.
Yeah. I wish Arkansas played more games on NBC so I could say they're on the cock.
Peacock, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. I feel like St. Peter's needs a deal with with NBC.
Yeah.
Anyway, Tennessee just keeps gaining ground there in the East. So
that's a part of my take reference for those of you who don't know. I'm not being gross.
Mason's a big part of my take.
I feel like some people probably might listen to that and think that I'm like a weirdo.
Probably.
It's a joke. Okay, keep going. I'm sorry I keep interrupting you.
Oh, you're good. There's not much to talk about. Tennessee's dominating the East, and one of the questions I asked. Okay, so should we talk about Robert Moore first, or should we talk about Tony Vitello?
Tony Vitello.
So, for those of you who did not see Saturday, old Tony V got himself tossed in the first inning. I believe his pitching coach was run from the game just before that, and sounds like Tony was none too pleased about that. Got himself thrown out, and then gave the umpire a little chest bump. Earned himself a 4-game suspension.
Yep. Just can't do that.
And yet, the Vols went on to win the series without him. So,
yeah, big John Calipari vibes when he got thrown out.
The 2020 basketball game.
Yeah,
it was a galvanizing moment, if you will.
I don't know. Tennessee, this brand of baseball that they play. Look, it's fun if you're a Tennessee fan, and I'm happy that if you're a Tennessee fan, you get to watch that. And great, it's just a different brand of baseball that you will get when you're watching Tennessee compared to Arkansas. And I could care less. Good for them. They're having a good time. They got a younger coach. They've got that swagger about them. I'm not mad about it. Whatever. Tony Vitello, you can't bump it up. You're gonna get a 4-game suspension. He got it, And that's what happened. Tennessee's probably going to win the next 4 games anyways. They already won one of them. So, I don't know. Are you mad about it? Whatever. It doesn't bother me.
He got a little pissed off. It happens.
But the Tennessee fans coming back and saying like, Dave Van Horn isn't a saint, and then posting a video of Dave Van Horn arguing with an ump. Yeah, so has every other manager in the history of baseball.
Well, and it was a lot more common before replay. So like, it's whatever. The first major league team I ever rooted for was the Cubs when they were managed by Lou Piniella, and he was one of the most famous arguers in the history of the game. So I kind of dig it a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, and so whatever. Good for you, Tennessee. But let's get to the Robert Moore tweet. So I tweeted.
I gave you some really good content with my questions this week.
You did, yeah. Robert asked the question.
Between Gregory and Moore's answers.
Wait, this Moore tweet, did you ask that question?
Yeah, because that was in response to like, how do you guys feel being first in the SEC West halfway through the year?
Oh yeah, that was your question. Okay, so Robert Moore basically said we're confident. We're pretty confident after sweeping LSU, and he said, I think we're going to go into the tournament. Some people think when he said tournament, he meant the NCAA tournament. But I took it as SEC tournament.
Because he was talking about a team at the top of the East that he did not mention by name.
And so he said, I think we're going to go into the tournament and shake a lot of heads, too, with a team that's at the top of the East.
I don't think he's talking about the America East Conference.
Before I tweeted this, I asked the Arkansas SID, I said, do you remember that comment where Robert Morris said the team at the top of the East? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, he's talking about Tennessee, right? And he said yes.
Well, the way that Moore looked over at him after he finished that answer led us to believe that he probably said something he shouldn't have.
Well, I took it and ran with it, and
he said it.
That was
fair game.
That was my thought process. Was you can get mad at me for clipping it, but I clipped his full answer,
right?
And that is out there on YouTube. The entire press conference. Anybody else could have gone and found that. It's not like I'm making Robert Moore look bad. He said it. I don't think it's a bad thing to say. He's being competitive. He's saying he thinks they're on the level of Tennessee. The way I heard it is he thinks Arkansas is confident enough that they're on the level of Tennessee, who has only lost 3 games this season. Fine. Tennessee fans, flood my mentions. Rent-free. This is the definition of rent-free. Living in Arkansas's head, rent-free. Why is Arkansas so fascinated with Tennessee? Rent-free. It's like...
That's what comes along with being first in the conference, okay?
But also it's like Arkansas's living rent-free in your head because you obviously care so much. You're showing that you care so much that you're going to argue for 30-something hours in my mentions with Arkansas fans about who's better, who has the better program. I saw people talking about Tennessee's lacrosse program in my mentions, and I'm like, who's living rent-free in whose head now? Like,
I mean, the whole thing for me is like, you're the number 1 team in the country. You're going to have a target on your back. That's how it works. Arkansas dealt with it the whole year last year.
Yeah. Anyways.
Still beat Tennessee in the series and the tournament, but whatever.
Anyways, thank you, Tennessee fans, for driving my Twitter impressions through the roof. I appreciate it. I will probably take advantage of that more often now.
Thanks to Robert Moore for answering my questions.
I'm going to start asking questions only about Tennessee. How do you guys feel about Tennessee? They lost to Alabama tonight. And I'm going to start clipping all of that. I'm just kidding. Kendall Rogers, though, he quote tweeted me.
He said, like, highway robbery that these two didn't get matched up in the regular season.
Yeah, he said, how Arkansas and Tennessee didn't get paired up in the regular season is highway robbery by the SEC. I agree.
Guess who will be in Fayetteville in 2023?
Tennessee.
That's right.
You know, so we've been talking about going to Hoover for the SEC tournament. Still on the fence about it. If anybody's listening out there and you want to help us get there, and you want to sponsor the trip, whatever, that'd be awesome. Just want to say real quick, our top episodes by far were from Round Rock, and that was in February. So
during Kentucky basketball week, by the way.
Yes. So if we hit the road, we go to Hoover, we would expect our numbers to just be really good again. So throw that out there.
And no big basketball game to compete with.
Just throwing that nugget out there. And if Arkansas and Tennessee match up in the SEC tournament,
That would make that trip worth it.
100% worth the trip.
Tennessee might win 15-0, and it would still be worth it just to see.
I don't think Tennessee would win 15.
I don't think they will.
No. Okay. Anything else you want to add, Robert? Before we let's add one more Barley and Vine. Barley and Vine going to try to get out there Friday for the A&M game. We'll let you guys know like last time. 7:30. Would love to see more people show up this time. It's going to be a Friday, 7:30. Games on the SEC Network. Come hang out. Don't have to get a drink if you don't want to, but you can. They got plenty, 32 beers on tap. They got wine as well. And you can also order some food from the first seat. Comes out quick, delicious food, and there's plenty to do at Barley and Vine. Some activities. Like I said, clean bar.
So much room for activities.
So much room for activities. And we hope to see you guys there if we can pull it off again. So
again, keep an eye out for details on social media.
Yes. Okay. Robert, anything else to add?
Oh, I don't know. Arkansas swept. We haven't said that in a few minutes, so might as well say it again.
Arkansas swept LSU. And coming up, they're going to play Arkansas State Tuesday, Wednesday in Fayetteville.
6:30 and 4?
6:30 and 4, as always, for your midweeks. So, yeah, there's going to be 2 easy games. Arkansas State, down year. And then you look ahead to next weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, after 2 straight Thursday, Friday, Saturdays. Friday's game, 7:30, SEC Network, Arkansas A&M, a good A&M team.
Just scored 23 runs to beat Georgia in a series.
Yep.
At Georgia, who was ranked 13th, I believe.
Georgia.
Yeah, so I bet A&M climbs into the rankings, and actually I did think of one thing we can finish off with. Go ahead and finish out the A&M schedule, though.
Oh, yeah, I figured we would do that for the preview.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right, 7:30 Friday, Barley and Vine. We're going to try to be there. Anyway, let's look at the top 6 real quick. I've done this already. Number 1 was Tennessee. They won the series. They're probably not going anywhere. Number 2 was Miami, I believe. Lost the series to Virginia Tech. Number 3, Oregon State swept Long Beach State. Not sure why they're playing a non-conference opponent on the weekend, but that's what happened. Number 4, Texas Tech got swept. Number 5, Oklahoma State beat West Virginia 2-1. So I'm thinking in the D1 baseball rankings that you're going to see Arkansas at either 3 or 4 on Monday.
Back in the top 5.
Back in the top 5 for sure. The question in my mind is, where do they value Oklahoma's road series win at West Virginia versus Arkansas's top 15, unranked West Virginia, by the way, versus Arkansas's top 15 sweep at home. So I think you're looking at Arkansas and Oklahoma State at 3 and 4. They just got to decide the order. But Miami and Texas Tech will probably fall below the Razorbacks.
All right.
Top 4 Hogs.
Top 4 Hogs. We'll see. And we will talk to everybody on Friday this time. Not a Thursday, Friday.
You've been listening to the Diamond Hogs Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Choate Mason and at DRStew32.